Welcome to the Standard H podcast, a casual conversation about the lives of entrepreneurs and those growing companies. I can't thank you enough for listening, as these episodes have been a wonderful supplement to the line of apparel that I'm thrilled to share is steadily growing. If you like what you hear, please visit standard-h.com and sign up for our email list. The website not only hosts every episode of this show, but also allows you to explore the entire product assortment and our latest travel recommendations. As an email subscriber, you will be the first to receive product release information as well as receive offers no one else is privy to. Just visit standard-h.com for more information. Seeing Standard H worn by a growing number of watch enthusiasts has been incredibly cool to witness, so chances are good if you're listening to this, you're probably an enthusiast already. However, if not, it makes no difference, as Passion Fine Jewelry welcomes everyone into their shop in Solana Beach, California. If you're already in deep, you'll know some of the brands that Tim Jackson and his team carry, which are some of the most highly sought-after independent watch manufacturers sold today. Names like Roger Smith, Grunfeld, Kudoke, Habring, Sarpaneva, and many more. If you can't make it to California, visit passionfinejewelry.com for their entire offering online. This episode is also brought to you by Conforming. Conforming's flagship product, the kerchief, is a perfect medium between a handkerchief and a bandana. Featuring iconic designs such as the Fender Stratocaster and the dashboard of a Volkswagen GTI, these utilitarian cloths are an item that should be a mainstay in your everyday carry. Tuck one in a back pocket or use one as a neckerchief. Visit them at cantonment.co, that's cantonment.co, and use the code STANDARDH in all caps, no spaces, for 20% off everything in their online shop. Now let's get to the show. Cole Young has done a lot in a very short time frame. This was even more apparent when I learned he was 5 years younger than I even thought. What he's building with his golf-inspired apparel brand Metalwood Studio has already far surpassed the point of being impressive to me. We planned a golf outing not far from his hometown of Carlsbad, California, at none other than Torrey Pines, and more specifically, the South Course for those of you keeping score at home. Like many guests on this show, Cole and I met through Instagram. I heard him on the Eric Anders Lang podcast and immediately reached out. There were so many parallels in our lives, I was dying to talk to Cole. Prior to teeing it up, we discussed his introduction to golf, his experience playing in college, followed by what brands he was enthralled with as a marketing major. We certainly share a strong value of community, something Cole took note of growing up surrounded by skate culture. We discuss our shared distaste for gatekeeping and how hype culture somewhat occurs on its own. As it happens, Cole is one of the more connected dudes I've ever met. If you were to name someone in the apparel industry doing things of note, Cole probably knows them. If you were to name a professional skateboarder in and around Los Angeles who happens to play golf, Cole has probably already played with them. His network blows my mind and I love to see it. I could go on, but I don't feel like making this intro any longer. Brass tacks, hanging with Cole is the perfect elixir of humor and knowledge, and I can't wait to get together again soon. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I did. I'm your host, Wesley Smith, and you're listening to the Standard H podcast. Tortilla chips for breakfast.
Yeah. Why not?
Is that standard?
No, not at all. It's just they were stale tortilla chips.
I like your style.
Chaos. Thank you very much for the coffee, by the way.
Yeah, of course. Cole, thanks for making the trip down.
Of course.
We're sitting inside a shoebox of a business center at the Torrey Pines Lodge. Can't say I've ever been in here. Can't say I've ever done a podcast in golf shoes before.
It's first time.
First time.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Welcome to hell.
Yeah. At least they're comfortable.
Yeah.
I'm rocking the Todd Snyder collabs. You know,
shout out FootJoy.
Yeah, shout out FootJoy.
They've
been
big
on
plug.
Like the collab front lately.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I think it's great. I think everybody needs something, or there should be something for everybody.
Sure.
I can't say that I'm a huge like Jordan collab guy, so to have something on the other end of the spectrum is nice. To feel seen, to know that people are like paying attention to that world.
Yeah.
And I think that FootJoy has done a really good job. Obviously, being like you have to be careful using the words like traditional or heritage, but like with such a insanely dramatic or like a great pedigree, like the great American golf shoe brand, like they have to be pretty selective of the people that they're working with. So
Sure.
I think they've done a pretty good job with that thus far.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think I really like, well, first of all, I just like this model of shoe. I just find it to be comfortable.
Tarlo
And
or
it
the
comes-
Packard.
These are the Packards. The Tarlo is the wingtip, right?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
the cap toe. These are Tarlos, and they come in wide, more importantly, because I have a wide foot, which historically I never knew FootJoys did. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, wow, mind blown. I could have been wearing much more comfortable golf shoes.
Yeah, for sure.
I heard you on the Eric Anders Lang podcast
Mm-hmm.
back in January. And a lot of what you guys talked about, I was like, and I DM'd you immediately and was like, hi, Cole, I'm Wesley. We sound like the same person.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that DM, but it was
do.
like, so you were born in Raleigh,
Yep.
as was I.
Rex Hospital.
Old Rex. I was one of the last babies born in
No
Old
shit.
Rex.
Okay.
And then they opened
All right.
a new hospital in 1980.
Yep.
And then you were born in, I don't know, whatever.
94.
Jesus. Okay. Yeah, you're much younger. So I figured you were like 10 years younger than I am, but I didn't realize you were 15 years younger than I am.
Doesn't make you a bad person.
But no, I know. But it just like wrapping my head around like what your experience was like at certain eras is going to be different, right?
Right.
So like that's kind of where my brain goes with
For
like
sure.
the numbers game.
Yeah.
So when did you leave Raleigh?
Like 10 months old.
Oh, okay. So you were like newborn basically.
Yeah. I don't think I ever spent any like significant amount of time in Raleigh. We moved to Carlsbad before I was 1, but my grandparents were always in Pinehurst ever since I was born. So we would go 4 times a year growing up.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So
Not a bad
my
place to go.
parents now live there,
Right.
and we've talked real estate a little bit, and Airbnb status and such.
Yep.
But to be continued. But you know, what did your parents do growing up? Like, what'd your dad do for work? What'd your mom do?
My mom helped my dad. My dad was he was working for the marketing department for Big Pharma, originally Ligand, then ASI, then launched a bunch of like cutaneous lymphoma drugs, and I don't know how long he's been on his own, but he's just a consultant now for companies like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay,
So he's
still
always
working.
been in biomed, and my mom has kind of just assisted him doing that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's how they met at a conference.
Oh, wow.
I think here in San Diego.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's so much biotech here. You know?
Yeah.
Well, and then like GSK and all that's over there. But that's cool.
Yeah.
What is like one of your favorite memories from childhood from Carlsbad? Or is it just golf?
No, actually, it's not. I mean, golf is obviously great. Being able to play it here like four seasons a year, but I don't know. I was like really big into skating and BMX and stuff like that. So and growing up in Carlsbad, on our street was a cul-de-sac, and we had 5-6 kids that were all within like 2 years of each other. And
So
we
is
all
this
went to
like
different schools.
At home build quarter pipes and
Not quarter pipe, but there was some 1080 like plastic jumps that you would fit in the grass. And we had like kind of a grassy knoll area that you could like jump off of. So it was mainly coming home from school and just riding your bike or skating for 3 hours until dinner, and then you would do homework after.
well, and you're also just like in such a hotbed at that age as well. Because again, I'm going back to the age thing, because like my perception and my experience of Tony Hawk at my age versus your experience of Tony being virtually in your backyard.
Yeah.
Like he was around, obviously Shaun White was around, like all those cats were skating clearly at the Y in
The
Encinitas.
Y. Yeah. One of my best friends, Chris Clifford, I'm going to his wedding next week. He was in his backyard, or like his backyard neighbor was Bucky Lassick, who had a mini ramp and a full blown bowl in his backyard, which is crazy. So we'd kind of peek over the fence and see that, which is pretty cool. But growing up in North County, San Diego, you're kind of the outcast if you don't do all those things. So,
Right.
Yeah.
What was your what was your board of choice? Whose brands were you skating? Were you a girl guy, or were you Birdhouse?
No, I had a couple enjoy boards just because of Ronnie Mullen.
Yeah, I used to skate his shoes.
Yeah.
The Globe. I think the Rodney Mullen, the Globes is my last pair.
I'm trying to think which book. We're gonna have to fact check that, honestly. He was like a crazy flat ground guy,
Yeah, that's Rodney Mullen.
right?
Yeah,
Okay, he had a book. That was maybe like my first like actual full book that I ever read. Was his like
was Rodney Mullen's skate book.
I think his like autobiography. We don't have any Wi-Fi or like service in here, but I would like to check that later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, that's dope.
I completely forget the name of it.
So, who or what got you into golf?
My grandparents on my mom's side, the ones from Pinehurst.
Right.
So my parents don't really play.
Okay.
But that was like the time that I got to spend with my grandparents was playing golf with them. And every once in a while they'd come out here, but most of the time we would go to Pinehurst and play with them.
How old were you when you first picked up a club?
When I could walk, like, yeah, really young.
Yeah. It's like
Really young.
tiger status.
Mm-hmm.
Sick.
Yeah.
And you started competing young too?
No, I don't think I took it really seriously until maybe like 5th grade.
Okay.
I started playing which is young.
Yeah,
I get that.
I was 11.
Yeah. But I think I was like in group lessons at Rancho Carlsbad and in Carlsbad, and I was doing that like once a week with like kids from my class. And then I just decided that was like, I didn't want to do other sports. That was like the one that I wanted to sink my teeth into. So
Yeah.
I started taking private lessons in addition to that for a little bit until I quit the group lessons and I just started doing the once a week private lessons. But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Who was your guy back then? Did you have a favorite golfer?
I mean, all sorts of them, but like for different reasons. I don't think I got as into Tiger Woods until later when I realized like what he meant to golf.
Sure.
But like, I don't know, I've always been interested in golf style and things outside of golf. So I was like into Camilo Villegas and Ian Poulter and like people that would just like dress psycho. Cause that was cool to me. And that's like that's what interested me in golf.
Was the apparel?
No, I mean like,
or just the style.
It was an
the
accessory.
vibe.
It was an accessory to being able to play this sport that
Yeah.
was like I enjoyed, and also my like 70-year-old grandparents enjoyed.
Right.
That was like the common through line.
Sure.
But like getting to tweak it and put my twist on it was fun for me, and that's why I think I connected to people like Camilo and those guys.
That's cool, man. That's really cool. Where did you go to high school?
Cathedral Catholic in Del Mar.
Okay.
Which used to be Uni.
And you played golf there?
I did.
They had a golf team?
Yeah.
Cool.
Uni, I think I was maybe like the 7th or 8th graduating class from Cathedral.
Okay.
Uni before is where like Tim and Phil Mickelson went, and were like Torrey Pines rivals and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And then the school moved further north to like literally right across the street from Torrey Pines High School. So I grew up playing high school golf with a ton of people that are on tour now, which is pretty crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Where did you end up at college?
Loyola Marymount University.
And what'd you study?
Marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense.
To the listeners at home, there's literally no rapport. We've avoided getting to know each other for the sake of this. For the sake of this podcast, we don't know anything about each other.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you definitely don't know anything about me.
Right, which I want to get to at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we can flip the script maybe for a part 2
For sure.
But yeah, no, 100%.
We've held off. There's texts in our phone saying, I want to ask you something, but I can't because I want to ask you on air.
Yeah, dude, I have to do this a lot,
Oh, I'm
right?
sure.
Like with every guest, it's
sure.
like, don't tell me that.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah,
tell
yeah.
me that. Save it for the pod. I don't want to hear it a second time.
Right.
And I don't want to make you say it a second time.
Totally.
Because I like to react the same way an audience member
Sure.
perhaps could, because you're probably going to say something that will evoke a different question or provoke a
Right.
different question.
Right.
So yeah, fair enough though. Like who was in the CD player in high school? What was your first car?
What era are we talking about?
Your first car era.
My first car
I don't know,
era.
16. Were you driving at 16?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a little, the 2011 Kia Forte coupe
Sick.
that I like had aspirations of like slamming to the ground and tinting the headlights or like taillights and stuff like that.
Wait, you had aspirations, meaning you didn't go through with it?
No.
Okay.
No. Because I realized it was just a Kia Forte.
Hey.
God, I don't even know. I was like into rap. I was into electronic. When I was a freshman in high school, I like thought that electronic music was really corny. And then all the seniors on our golf team, like one of them was, like big into club music. He lived in Tijuana and would commute over the border.
Oh, wow.
Every day to school. And like, he was into like Mexican club music. And then that inspired like other seniors on our team who lived here in San Diego, like into electronic music. And I think that filtered down.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like ready for that level of electronic music. So I just started with like Daft Punk and Justice and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, totally.
I was like into Skrillex.
Yeah.
But that wasn't like a music, that wasn't like defining for my childhood. I feel like I grew up listening to music in like the emo era too. So I would listen to Good Charlotte and Simple Plan and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, of course.
Heavy mix.
Yeah, again, there's some overlap there. I was kind of into everything just as somebody interested in drums. Like, if it had a good beat, I'm into it.
Sure.
Or had a good drummer, primarily.
Yeah.
But, so what was college like? I mean, studying marketing. Did you play golf at Loyola?
I did.
You did? Okay.
For 3 years.
First 3 years,
first 3.
I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Did it feel like a job at all? Because I lived with a college athlete in college, and it's like a full-time job often for
yeah,
athletes.
but the athletic director helps like curtail some of that feeling, right? So you get preferred classes, you make sure that your practice schedule doesn't interfere with your school schedule and all that kind of stuff. But we would switch off. So Monday, Wednesday, and Friday were morning classes, and then afternoon practice. Tuesday, Thursday were like sunrise practice. Evening classes kind of stuff. So at times it did feel like a job. But I think that wasn't everyone's experience on the team. It may have just been mine. I only really started like one tournament, didn't play all that much.
Really?
But, I think that was maybe a reflection on the program, how I interpreted like the practicing time and what I did with the time that I was given. But, yeah, I mean, there was definitely parts of it that didn't feel like a job. Like our home courses were LA Country Club and, Wilshire, and we'd play the occasional Bel Air. And I think we played Riv once with punch greens, which was a treat in and of itself.
Yeah,
but,
I'll take it.
Yeah. but yeah, I think it went back and forth.
Yeah.
You would start the season with like a whole fresh kit of like gear, which was amazing. That you rode that high for a couple months, and then you would have midterms and on top of practice, and that would suck. And then you would get to go away for Christmas for a bit, and then come back and play another season. And then it was summer, so summer golf. You try to stay tuned up, play a bunch of summer events, and. Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed it, obviously.
Yeah.
But I didn't like put all of my eggs in one basket. Like I could have sucked at school a little harder and been better at golf, or I could have just sucked at golf a little harder and gotten better grades. Kind of, it's like a sliding scale, So
did you ever like reach a moment where you decided like I don't want to go pro, or were you
the whole time?
Really? So you knew so you knew you didn't want to go pro.
I just knew I wasn't good enough.
This is free golf, so I'm taking it.
Kinda. And so the coach that recruited me, Alex Galvin, was there for 20 years, and we ended up having him for his last year. And no like static to Alex, but I think the fact that I got recruited to go play there is like maybe why he's not there anymore. But and then we brought in like for my sophomore year, and like the following recruiting class was this guy Brad Lanning, who was from the Oregon golf program who assisted Casey Martin. So he's like crazy talented in his recruiting skills and takes everything very seriously because Oregon is like grooming a bunch of players to go pro.
Sure.
And he sat us down and he's like, what do you mean none of you guys want to go pro? Like, why are you here? I was like, I don't know.
I get to play LCC.
I get to play LCC. So it's kind of a rude awakening, and like, you know, the team changed a lot after that, and I don't think he lasted longer than like 4 years. And I'm blanking on the new coach's name, but he's like a former LMU golf graduate. So he understands the program.
Yeah.
Some, you know, changes in alumni money came in and all that kind of stuff, and now they've got a pretty solid team. A couple people made it to nationals this last year, but
nice.
But yeah, I knew early on that I wasn't good enough to go pro. I just was trying to ride it for as long as I could, and I think I was getting a little burnt out on golf.
Yeah.
Playing it, but I also always knew that I like wanted to somehow, some way work in the golf industry, especially growing up in Carlsbad in like golf industry mecca.
Right.
And then getting inspiration or drawing whatever you can from Los Angeles, being a little faster paced than Carlsbad is, somehow fusing that together.
Nice.
Yeah.
So as a marketer, right? Like you're studying marketing in college and such.
Barely.
Like what were some of those brands that you were like highly attracted to and like, you know, respected, for the lack of a better description, based on like marketing and how they brand positioning and that sort of thing? Was there anybody like you were just like...
Yeah, I was like very, very into like LA skate scene stuff that, you know, I'm not gonna say any brands that are like way out there, but like Supreme, the whole like Fairfax district.
Yeah.
You see Stussy doing it now. The whole thing where the people that work at the store are also the models. Right.
Like brand ambassadors. And
also
stuff.
On the skate team, has a really crazy like family focused kind of community. No one works there that doesn't like, no one works there that they don't have beers with after the day or something like that. They're already hanging out with each other. Now let's just go to work together kind of thing. So that community focused marketing is attractive to me. I think that, you know, developing something that people from the outside are looking in that think it's cool and they want to be a part of that culture is important for as a brand building exercise. But I think also being from Carlsbad and understanding a little bit about skate culture and you know, certain things like the who's who, or like if you know, you know, it's so lame, but like, you know, the secret spot kind of thing. Like you don't give that up. You just like, you vet people to bring in and then figure out if they're worthy of taking to the secret spot, if that makes any sense. Yeah.
I have such a love-hate relationship with that phrase. If you know,
sucks.
You know, because it's like, I understand why it takes place, because it's like if you're clued in, like you do know, right? Like if you're really into something, like you see this all the time in watches, right?
Yeah.
Like XYZ. But the reason I hate it is because it seems so almost like gatekeeping and like exclusive and just so just like pretentious. There's like such an undertone of pretension involved with it that I just can't stand. It's like, I don't know why it makes me so angry, because I guess because I'm not that person. Like I don't gatekeep. You can ask me anything. Like I want to share everything with everybody all the time. Yeah. Because I, you know, lame also, but all, you know, rising tide lifts all ships. Like there's plenty of room for all of us to succeed here. Like it shouldn't be, well, that guy doesn't know.
Right. No, if anything, you're trying to, as enthusiasts, whether it be car enthusiast, watch enthusiast, golf enthusiast,
or apparel.
Yeah,
totally.
You would hope to share that enthusiasm with someone, right?
Exactly. Yes.
So in the spirit of not gatekeeping, I guess you're looking to draw common ground with people, finding someone's counterpoint and like being able to connect with them on some level. And I think that in these certain subcultures, like watches, for example, like
Yeah.
I'm a fringe watch guy.
Sure.
I don't own any like spectacular watches, but I
Doesn't matter.
admire them from afar.
100%.
And you know, this watch that I'm wearing now is like my inspiration to like learn more about it and like get myself to the point where I would get the better version of it,
Right.
kind of thing. So and you don't
It's also a great way to approach the collecting aspect of watches. Get in before you spend a boatload of cash.
Right.
See if you even like it.
Right.
Because if you've never worn a watch before and all of a sudden you got this thing on your wrist, you might hate the feeling. Like, I don't wear bracelets.
Right.
Could I? Sure. But I don't, because I don't like it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's also the beauty of watches too, because there are so many options at such lower price points before spending $5, $10, $50,000.
And if you don't sell your collection off, you get those diary entries of like, oh, this is the first watch that I bought, and then I leveled up to this one. It was like, oh, that was a cute time in my life.
You see the timeline.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, it's great, man.
But going back to the whole gatekeeping thing, it's like I pay attention to forums and like blogs and all that kind of stuff, and that even though like I wouldn't be able to hold my own in a conversation of a circle of like watch people, it is exciting to see what other people are enthusiastic about.
Oh, cool. So you're on watch blogs and forums?
Sorta.
What do you, I don't pay one bit of attention to any of those, so this is fascinating to me. Which ones are you reading?
Okay, so just like
Rolex forum? Or,
no,
okay.
not even.
Okay.
Not
Okay.
even.
Got it.
But like just the people that I look up to or take inspiration from,
Sure.
generally tend to be watch people.
Right.
And the fact that I already like the way they dress, or I already like the cars that they drive, or I already like how they conduct themselves through business.
Yeah, sure.
I'm drawing parallels to like what they're into.
That's cool.
Watches just happens to be one of them. So people like Michael Williams, if he was wearing a certain watch, I would pay attention to that.
Yeah.
And then I would go Google that watch, and then just whatever forum has any information on it. Sometimes it's even like TikToks, to be honest with you.
Sure. Yeah.
Just
totally.
crazy.
What is your take and or feeling on hype culture?
In what matter?
Well, just like, is that something that interests you for your brand, for example? Is it something, because I mean, let's face it, I mean, to be hype can be a positive. It could also have negative effects too.
But hype is like, at this point, mass appeal in a bell curve scenario where you've got pioneers, then early adopters, then mass appeal, and then like late adopters.
Late adopters, right?
Like mass appeal is like.
Is that something you want from Metalwood? Or do you want to
I don't need to like attract those kinds of people, but eventually those things naturally happen. It's like the camo hat, for example, that we sell is like a hilarious, just like, not joke of a promotional item, but if you read the 80-20 book or whatever, I haven't read past like the first 3 chapters. I'm so bad at reading, but if my girlfriend listens to this, she'd be so pissed. She'd be like, I've been telling you to read that book. But no, it's so funny. It's like I put 80% of my I put 100% of my energy into like the 20% of things that actually drive revenue for the company.
Totally.
And the meat and potatoes, the camo hat that makes up 80% of the revenue, I put literally 0 effort into that, which is annoying. But
it's kind of like music, right? Like a lot of the music that is mass appeal is, I mean, if you were to talk to like an credible musician, they'd probably be like, yeah, this is kind of dumbed down. This is like sort of basic.
Right. The song that I hate is the one that's on Billboard Top 10 because I like just threw shit up against the wall and it stuck.
Yes. These 4 chords.
Right.
You know?
Right. So with using the camo hat as an example, like that's mass appeal now. It's popular. It's the best selling product we've ever made because a couple pioneers and early adopters that are at the forefront of like arbiters of taste wore it, and then all of a sudden like everybody's wearing it. So the best North Star to I guess point your compass at is just like designing things for yourself. I'm lucky because I'm like my own core demographic, right? So
likewise,
right. So I think
I'm customer number 1 always.
Right. I wouldn't make anything that I'm not going to wear.
Exactly.
And then through the marketing of it, whether we just talked about like the community building aspect of it, or like seeding it to people that you think might make sense, that's where I want my product to live.
Yeah.
And then whoever finds it after is great.
What was your first job? Like ever?
Pet sitter.
Oh, nice.
Cole's Cool Critters.
No way.
Yeah.
Website?
No, business card though.
Sick.
With like an a la carte menu of like all the services.
Give me 3.
Okay.
Feeding, walking.
But I've also pet sat a bearded dragon that needed like antibiotics.
Okay.
And I would charge extra every time I would have to like use a needle.
A needle?
Yeah. It was like $25 a needle.
Oh my God. That's hilarious.
I was, pet sitter from like when I was a kid to like, I don't know, whenever.
So when
we just lived on so many people lived on our block with pets and they would go out of town and I was like, I was the guy. But, and
what
then.
Was your first job where you were like getting a W-2?
Dude, I never worked at a restaurant. I never worked at a coffee shop or anything. My first job that I think I got a W-2 for was like, I think it was either a week-long internship with TaylorMade.
Okay.
Which is crazy because I had to like get like a background check and go through ADP.
Oh, sure.
Just for like a week-long unpaid internship.
Wow.
Like one summer, random summer. That was like 2008. It's like in 8th grade.
Wow, that's sick. What'd you do there?
I was like, I wanted to be an engineer in college. So I like went and did like a research and development internship at TaylorMade. So we did balls. We did like club head design. It was like a design sprint.
Right.
Kind of like
crash course.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
And then after that, like the job after that was Fujikura. I was a marketing assistant and intern at Fujikura 2 summers in a row in college.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
And then how did you get the job with Revolve? Weren't you a buyer?
Yeah. So my senior year of college, after I was not playing golf anymore, I was like, I got to figure out what I'm going to do after school.
Yeah, next step. Yeah.
And, there was an LMU like careers program where you could like people would post internship things, and I started working as an unpaid intern for Indian Summer Agency, which is a marketing and ad agency in Venice Beach, California, and they handled like 5-6 lifestyle brands. One of them was like Levi's. We did skateboarding and commuter line. We did crap eyewear. We did.
Yeah. I had some commuter jeans.
Yeah.
They had the little loop you could put your U-lock in.
Exactly.
Sick.
Welcome Stranger, San Francisco brand, Critical Side Society, Australian surf company. So I was like, I did everything there. Marketing and sales intern. And that was like the best That was honestly the best job I ever had, because everybody that we worked with was great.
Yeah.
Drew is still a mentor of mine, and he's the one that started the agency. He like took me to Agenda, like my first trade shows with him.
Yeah.
Meeting decision makers at those companies like Levi's. I never like went to the Levi's headquarters in San Francisco, but like people would come down and I met those people at the trade shows. And anyway, so that was like my first foray into like the apparel world.
And you guys were a showroom selling wholesale to
Yes.
like boutiques.
Yeah, exactly. And then one of the brands was Crap Eyewear. And after I graduated, I went in-house at Crap Eyewear to do sales, and like servicing local skate shops and all that kind of stuff. And that's 2016. I think I worked for like 6 months, and then through Levi's, through like the Indian Summer Agency guys, I met the buyers at Revolve and kind of wanted to try out the other side. So I was a buyer at Revolve and Forward, their sister site, for a year and a half or 2 years.
That was the men's site, Forward?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, Revolve did men's and women's.
Okay.
And then Forward was like the higher price point luxury stuff.
I see. So I was thinking there was like a bifurcation there.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. How was there anything at Revolve that you learned that you still use today?
All of like the buyer math kind of stuff, like margins and like turnover rate and all that kind of stuff, like that still checks today. Like I wouldn't know the 138 rule without doing that.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think what else. I guess budgeting, that kind of stuff. Really boring stuff.
Right. Yeah. Like, no, it's the worst.
To really write home about, but like real, skills that are worth knowing when trying to steer your own ship.
Right.
So
are you still a one-man band, or do you have employees?
No, we've got a couple employees now.
Is that because of the shop?
Yes and no. I mean, prior to opening the store, we were already looking for an office space. And we were mainly looking downtown, like near Skid Row, where all the other like startup fashion brands are.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons we didn't do that was just because of working in like a golf adjacent, world. If I took a meeting with Titleist or FootJoy or you name it, like,
you're not making them go there.
No.
Yeah.
These guys are wearing like blue blazers and khaki pants, or flying, from the East Coast. Like, oh yeah, just like miss the human shit in front of the door and go up 8 floors and like,
I'm here.
You're here.
Yeah.
That wasn't the vibe at all. So, good friend John Buscemi had me over for a meeting at his office on La Brea, and all of his stuff was like wrapped up in plastic. I was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm moving next door. You should move in here as an office space."
Oh, sweet.
It's like, great. It also has like this fantastic display window. Why don't we just do a work, like a shop and an office?
Yeah.
And so some of the hires have gone toward filling that out. But no, we've got a couple like contractors that help out with design, and that's product design, graphic design. We've got web dev guys. We've got Darren, who's like the store manager, who once, further on down the road, when the brand grows on the trajectory that I'm hoping it does, we'll have to have more people in the store.
Yeah.
Darren will take more of a inside role, helping me with production, which he did in the past. And Ryan, who's our art director, image director, he focuses on photo shoots and making sure that the Instagram looks pretty. So it's
cool.
It's still a pretty small team.
So did you take on investment? By the way, we're talking about Metalwood Studio.
Oh yeah.
Your company.
My company, Metalwood Studio.
Completely glazed over. Sorry, that's my bad.
You're good.
Yeah. Do you have business partners, back end investors?
It was like really, really early angel investor type help to build inventory. Just because like at the very start, it was like I had friends that had stores just through knowing the wholesale world and all that kind of stuff. So,
yeah.
everything was PO financed. I had this logo and I had this idea and I showed it to a couple friends that had stores and they were like, oh yeah, we'd prepay for a couple of those things. So my minimum was like 50 pieces on a set of head covers. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, if this store bought 10 and this store bought 10, that I can sell 30. I had like 30 friends that would buy those. Right. So let's just do that. And that idea led to another and another and another. And this is all happening like during the pandemic.
Yeah, totally.
And
so it's all like, I always use this kind of expression for Standard H. It's like make a little, sell a little, make a little, sell a little.
Yeah. I mean, the whole goal is to make sure that the collection 1 makes enough money to make collection 2.
Exactly.
And hopefully collection 2 is a little bigger.
Right.
And you keep doing that.
Exactly. Do you have any designs on going into the wholesale market?
So we, again, led with wholesale.
Yeah. Okay. I see what you're saying.
And then kind of like, I think working around this non-existent like fashion calendar where
right.
buyers have budgets per season, that doesn't really exist now. There's so many brands that are just making clothes whenever they want.
Right. Drops. Yeah.
So capturing buyers' budget is some ways easier, some way harder.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to stick to a traditional fashion calendar, like selling your fall collection in January and selling your spring collection in like
August,
June,
or
yeah, that was creatively stifling for me.
Mm-hmm.
So wholesale for the last 2 seasons kind of taken a backseat.
Cool.
But this year, spring, summer 23, which we just closed our window for, I brought on a third-party wholesale rep, our buddy Dom, and he's just knocked it out of the park. We opened like so many 6 stores for January through April, which I'm really, really excited about. So our spring, summer 23 collection is by far the best we've ever done.
Now, are you taking money up front for that, or are you doing traditional?
No,
where it's
we're
like
gonna
net
do
30 or
net 20. This is like the scary thing.
Yeah,
like,
no kidding. Yeah, that's why I asked.
Yeah, X amount of dollars in wholesale earnings is like anywhere from 30 to 50% of said X
right
out of pocket to make all that shit. So
yeah, no, I haven't stepped off that ledge, and that's
just do it.
Hopefully in the near future. Yeah, but you're so dialed, it seems, with like connectivity and community, as you said. Like, I mean, the John Buscemi's of the world. Yes, we have a mutual friend, Davide, over at Giaia, but like that's kind of where our connections end for me. Do you attribute that sort of community and or those connections to Revolve, or is it just you're in that mix? Like, because obviously you've got a tight grip on the skate community as well. I've seen like you play golf with Sean Malto and like, the crew. So
some have come from my past work at Malbon Golf. Steve is
dialed,
pretty sticky when it comes to like gluing that whole group together, right? So I feel like I'm just a good listener when it comes to like being in the room with those people, and then not like trying to butt in too hard. I'm just like, I'm kind of there.
Yeah.
And then just getting to know people and sharing experiences and all that kind of stuff. I feel like that definitely the foundation for that was Revolve, because you get to know a pretty like at Revolve, I don't feel like I got too deep with one brand. It was a very wide surface level, interactions with all these people. But a couple trade shows go by and you're like, oh, we interacted before. We're colleagues. And then, you go into the room with Steve and you're sitting next to the Buscemis and the Maltos, and you can talk. You can say like, oh, well,
Yeah.
I remember you from this agenda party, or like, I remember you from this. And then they're like, oh, so if you're, this person, that means this person. And it's
Yeah, of
like,
course. Yeah.
that's not a very good way to start conversations with people. Or it's like, oh, so this person,
Right?
Or,
But no.
in a way,
that's stereotypically very LA.
right. It is.
But that's never how I moved in LA, and it doesn't sound like that's how you move either.
No, you want to develop your own relationship with these people. So,
That's great.
but yeah.
What was I going to ask you? We've jumped around so much, dude.
Good.
Well, you mentioned Malbon.
Yeah.
How did that come about initially?
Okay, so through Indian Summer Agency, I knew this girl, Orla.
Okay.
Shout out Orla. She was just in the mix. She was in apparel. I'm blanking on her line of wedding dresses, but she had like a line of wedding dresses who had a showroom in Venice.
Cool.
And she was just around at events and parties and all that kind of stuff. And so we had a connection, and I was at Revolve at the time, and like thinking back fondly of like my golf memories, but like hadn't touched a club almost my entire time at Revolve, just because like, why would I do that? And and I'm on Instagram, and I see Orla at the driving range on Instagram. I was like, yo, I had no idea you played golf. Like, I used to dabble. And she was like, oh no, I'm not like really trying to golf, but like my friends are starting like a golf fashion brand called Malbon Golf. And I like, my head popped off. I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
That's what needs to happen.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I think I just like DM'd Steve and Erica. I was like, I need to work here. I don't think you have a choice. Like, I need to work here.
Right.
And I like led with some psycho marketing plan where I grew up with the Xander Schauffele's and the Michael Kims and the Bo Hosslers. And I was like, oh, we should just like start seeding all these people that are about to be big on tour. And they were like,
Sure.
We're not really in a position to do that, but you can like, help direct us
You can give them some
creatively.
stickers.
And, like, yeah, exactly. So Steve and I and Eric and I met literally the first day. I think this is April 2017. Yeah, the first day that they opened the store.
That's cool.
On Fairfax, and I was still working at Revolve, and I figured out how I could like help them do some wholesale and also be a buyer and help, style and do things that they needed me to do. So
Sweet.
yeah, that was the kind of the start of that.
That's cool. What made you leave? Just to start your own thing?
Kinda. I mean, Metalwood was like happening while Malbon was happening.
Okay.
In a different category. Like Metalwood was always kind of like a curated used bin, because I was just such a gearhead as a kid.
I see.
And I was into clubs, so I was like buying and selling golf clubs, telling the story of said golf clubs, like beyond what anyone would ever need to know about a stupid golf club. But like,
right.
There was a moment where I thought maybe Metalwood could be part of Malbon, and then.
Are you and Steve still cool?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was amicable or whatever.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think there was a little bit where things got hairy. He was like, "What are you doing? Like, what? I pay you to work on Malbon." I don't know. Maybe this is at my own fault where I thought Metalwood could be part of Malbon, but after shit hit the fan in February 2020 or March of 2020,
Sure.
we shut the store down. I was like, okay, well, I'm going to keep doing both.
Right.
But like maybe Metalwood has some apparel components to it. And then I did that whole PO financing thing where I sold Metalwood to a couple stores that also carried Malbon. And that was the conflict of interest that led to my departure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then a couple weeks later, whatever beef we had, we went to Pinehurst, Steve and I, with a whole group of people, and had some drinks and played for some money, and we've been great ever since. So
That's nice.
yeah.
What course?
All of them?
Oh, you played all of Pinehurst?
No, I think we played like 2, 4, 8, Cradle,
Sick.
Dormy Club.
Good God. That's
Yeah,
a
we were
hell
there
of a
for, like,
trip.
a whole week.
That's amazing.
Do it big there.
I haven't played 2. I haven't played 4. I have played 8.
Okay. Just funny. 8's like,
I love that course.
8's a great course, but it's also probably the worst representation of like what all the other Pinehurst courses are like.
I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
It's a great course though. I'm actually going home 2 weeks from today.
Okay.
Home. My parents.
Yeah.
Obviously live in Pinehurst.
On 7, right?
No. They're in a different neighborhood, lake neighborhood.
Gotcha.
Just like around the corner from the resort.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But it's great. I miss the lake. That's for sure.
Yeah.
How did you go about naming Metalwood? Like, how did that come up? I feel like there was like an announcer that would always say it on the broadcast.
Yeah. So I knew I wanted to do like vintage golf, right?
Okay.
Like 90s and a little bit of the early 2000s. Just because I thought it was like the interest in normcore fashion and like maybe understated things like just really shitty brown polos.
Right.
That's funny to me. And like an ironic, like, oh, I'm dressing like this intentionally. That was like the target era of golf that I wanted to focus on.
Oversized Ashworth.
Yeah, exactly. Just gigantic pleated pants.
Yeah, totally.
A lot of brown, a lot of like putrid patterns and all that kind of stuff. So, in that era, there was a certain vocabulary used in golf. 3 pars instead of par 3s. Metalwoods instead of fairway woods, or like woods, you know? So
right.
the term like metalwood, if you're watching like golf reruns and they're transitioning from persimmon to like fairway woods or metalwoods,
yeah,
the announcers kind of just like don't know what to call it. They're like kind of tripped up on their words. So they're saying like, well, it's not a fairway wood. It's kind of like metal. So it's like a metal wood. So that was like the impetus behind that, is just like this vocabulary that is like laser focused on that era of golf.
Cool. Well, you launched, it sounds like, with head covers. That was your
Head
first
covers,
product?
socks, and hats.
So it was all accessories to start. Now, what is next spring, summer? What's that looking like? Assortment wise? Is it kind of
it's
mix?
really cut and sew heavy.
Cool.
I think the stores that we wanted to be in, we set out to be in, were primarily like menswear boutiques that a majority of their business is wovens and knits and all that kind of stuff. So you have every hat under the sun, but there's also knit polos, there's workwear inspired jackets, there's some shirting, there's pants, there's even a little bit of denim.
Now, are you like a very cotton driven based program?
Yes.
So no synthetic, no stretchy garments.
No.
I love it.
I think
they're out there.
I think for the people that are listening that think that your polyester shirt is going to help you play golf, it's not going to.
Right.
So you might as well look good while you're shooting 85 anyway.
Big facts.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love that. Your PR and marketing though has been crazy to witness. Like, I mean, you've had coverage in Esquire, I think, definitely in GQ.
Mm-hmm.
Do you work with a PR agency? It's
no.
them finding you, like
that, and like just knowing people there, I guess. I don't know. Like
sure.
I've been able to.
Have you seen the needle move when those campaigns come out?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Definitely. GQ's been great to us. Hypebeast has been great to us.
You're on the Fair Game app.
On the Fair Game app.
Their Clubhouse.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been very lucky to, I don't even know if I can call it this, but like be a spokesperson for the charge that our community is trying to lead. I'm very lucky to be in the conversation. So
if you were to put a label on that, what do you call it? The charge. Come on the Standard H podcast. You get
Yeah,
heavy
seriously.
questions.
Damn. It's not alt golf. It's not woke golf. It's just like and it's not I don't even know, dude.
Postmodern.
I guess post-internet golf.
Post-country club.
Yeah. I don't even know. You can't. I literally could not call it anything just because there's certain companies had to walk for all of us to run or fly, do whatever.
Right.
There's literally a new golf brand on Instagram every day, for better, for worse. But like, all those people have something to say or put something out there for the NASCAR golf guy,
Sure.
the watch golf guy, the chef golf guy, the rap golf guy. Like this web is ever growing. Mm-hmm. So the democratization of golf and the products that come along with that, mm-hmm. that's what it is, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't have a name for it either.
Yeah.
But I mean, as somebody witnessing it, it is really interesting, especially the point that you make about like a new brand popping up constantly. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that drives you nuts or if you welcome it just due to competition being healthy. You know, Coke needs Pepsi, that kind of vibe.
Yeah, no, the new brands popping up doesn't bother me as much, just because I think more eyes on golf, like it behooves me to root them on, right? I think it's more the bigger brands that are already in the fold just wanting to make golf clothes all of a sudden drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Why is golf, like Cole Haan making a golf line now? Why is well,
dude, I'm guilty. I made like some tees and some like stuff
so,
like that.
But like, yeah, but you're
I mean, I have my reasons.
Sure.
I'm customer number one.
Right. God, I'm blanking on like other examples right now, but like there's a handful of companies that have no business being golf, or have rooted their company in like lifestyle. Sure. Great.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden to like want to make golf product for the sake of it being popular.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Zara just put out like a golf editorial. I don't know if you saw it.
No.
Yeah. But there's like a little like a windbreaker that says golf athletics on it, just misspelled with a Z or something like that. I was like, oh, sick. Okay.
Cool.
We're doing this now.
Yeah.
Or I guess like Drake's brand Nocta doing a golf line. Mm. Maybe that pushes the needle a little bit for the capital G golf world. But like, I think I sit back and look at that and be like, damn.
Yeah.
That is.
And he'll move product, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know,
but like what's stopping him from doing like cricket tomorrow or tennis the next day, you know?
Yeah, so. Yeah. Have you ever had a favorite round you've ever played? Do you have a favorite round?
Multiple.
Sure.
Have a pretty photographic memory. I can remember like shots that I hit in high school or like college that like meant something to me. So like the rounds that I really enjoy are ones that I can like lay down in my bed and like play over again in my head because I remember every shot.
That's incredible.
Some of them have been in competition. Some of them have just been like money games.
Yeah. That
like went well for me. So no, a couple stand out.
Something tells me you're up when it comes to betting.
I'm probably even, which is up technically. Yeah. That's good.
Right.
Considering the amount of golf that I play and the percentage of times that I'm playing for money.
Who took the most amount of money from you?
Andy Estebeau, just one of our friends that we play like a money game at Satakoy on Mondays with. He's taken a lot of my money.
Okay.
on the golf course. He's taking it in dominoes. He's taking it
You playing Monday?
Monday, Satakoy, money game is a little freaky.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like the kind of money you get nervous about?
Me, yeah. Not them. I don't think they give a shit about that amount of money. But,
Okay.
For me, yeah, for sure.
That's funny. What's in the bag, man? Like we haven't really talked gear.
Yeah.
We're wrapping this up, by the way.
No, you're good. I think so. I still play like amateur events.
Cool.
I just tried qualifying for the US Mid-Am 2 weeks ago.
Nice.
And
Where was that?
Valley Club at Montecito.
Okay.
And then in December, I'm going to try to qualify for the US 4-ball with my buddy and former college roommate and teammate, Chase Nikolai. We're going to do that at Rams Hill. So you need to have USGA conforming clubs. So I have like a try hard set, which is boring. We don't need to talk about that. And then I have like my fuck around set, which I brought today. But I have so many golf clubs. It changes every day.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you a guy that changes putters often too, based on how you're putting?
Sorta.
Yeah. So are you in a high MOI situation now or a lower?
No, never that. The whole point of this for the listener at home is that so you start the day trying to make or build as many excuses as you can for how you're going to play that day. Right? So if you play with the most unforgiving clubs,
you have no excuse.
You have
all
the excuses in the world.
Yeah, it's the opposite. Yeah.
If you shoot the moon, you're like, oh, obviously, because I was playing with these clubs.
That's what I do.
If you shoot 65 with those clubs, you're like, let your nuts hang.
It's what I do.
Yeah. So I've got a modern driver in the bag. I've got a Titleist TSI 3. But to counteract that and make it the Metalwood way, the Metalwood difference, is putting like the most obsolete technology in the shaft. I'm playing like a nunchuck shaft. Have you heard of this?
No.
Do you know what autoflex is?
Vaguely.
Okay, it's like the new thing, right? So Inventix made a shaft called the nunchuck 15 years ago.
Okay.
10 years ago, 15 years ago. That is like the precursor to the autoflex.
Okay.
And no one should be playing that shaft. It literally fits no one. But at the same time, because it's autoflex, it technically fits everybody. I think it's like 100 grams. It's a double. It's rated CPM wise at like a double X flex.
Okay, I was gonna say.
But the tip and the butt section are really stiff, and the mid section is like a noodle.
Wow.
I'll let you hit it today. It's wild.
Yeah.
Unless you're lefty, aren't you?
No,
you're righty. Okay, so you get to hit it today. I forget. I was just talking to somebody.
I was thinking you were lefty. That's funny.
I've got a 2007 burner TP in the fairway wood section in the spot. That's like the only fairway wood that ever mattered. You should not buy anything else. It's the best fairway wood ever. 3 wood. 5 wood is an R7 steel. Irons are a small boutique company called Gearhart out of Gearhart, Oregon.
Okay.
They're forged by a Japanese forging company called Kioi.
Okay.
Who's famous for making like KZG irons and some of Nike's irons.
3 strikes.
3, yeah. And they are like a Titleist 680 MB replica.
Oh,
it's
sick.
the same amount of offset, same look.
That's what Adam Scott was playing forever, right?
Yep. And then my trusty rusty Nike wedges that I've had since college. I've just been backstocking those forever. They're the best shape. Never get rid of them. That I go back and forth between those and like Roger Cleveland era Callaways. The X forged, and I found like a old backstock of like conforming groove versions of them. Right. So I have a ton of those. And then just a good old Scotty Newport.
1.
Yes. No line, round bumpers.
No line, round. Yeah.
Don't put any of those square bumpers in my face.
Newport 2, take a hike.
Yeah. Get out of here.
Love it. I think you'll dig my putter.
I can't wait to see. Yeah. Oh, we've talked about it
Round bumpers.
Off pod.
Yeah.
Round bumpers only.
Yeah, for sure. What? So you mentioned your watch. It's the Timex Q.
Q73.
Is that what it's called? The
Yep.
Q73.
Mm-hmm.
What jumped out about that watch for you? Aside from price.
Honestly, price.
Yeah.
I think
It's such a cool design, honestly.
it's really cool. I think the band is amazing.
Yeah.
Love a good navy face. I really couldn't tell you other than the fact that it's like my beater watch, but I can also wear it for other dressier activities.
Do you wear a watch to golf? Like while golfing?
No, take it off.
Me neither.
Um,
Can't have additional weight, man.
no, reduce drag. You know.
Right.
This is my watch on the way to that real Pepsi
Love it.
Rolex. I think everybody needs that like attaboy gift, right? For whatever accomplishment you accomplish.
Yeah.
But this is my you ain't shit watch, which is like
until
you
get the attaboy
right. This
watch.
is the reminder. You're like you ain't shit until you have this kind of thing. So
I can't tell you enough how great I think the modern Pepsi is. Mm-hmm. I think it's the best modern Rolex, period. So if that's what you're looking at, then congratulations, because like you're on the right track. 'Cause,
yeah.
like, I've kind of been on this journey for over a decade, and it's like the modern Pepsi, especially on Jubilee,
Pinnacle.
it's unfuckwithable.
Yeah.
It's
The
best.
The new
and it's so
I think
comfortable.
it's a Oyster, the one that looks like the Air King black with the different numbers and his green hands or whatever.
The Air King.
Air King.
Yep.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean it's
like
a
that
zany
one.
watch, right?
Yeah,
Because it looks so unlike anything else.
Yeah.
I think they bettered it with like the update that they just did because it's been out. Like even there's just more dial symmetry with the 5 now having a 0 in front of it. Like there's other like ancillary attributes design wise that like make it better in my opinion. Now who am I? No one. So like it doesn't matter. But that would be a cool timeline though if you did Pepsi and had those side by side.
Yeah, exactly.
'Cause that's just a dope story.
Yeah. But also just me being interested in like vintage things in general too.
Totally.
Like the
heritage of the Pepsi.
Right,
is
exactly.
an
And
incredible
also
story.
the fact that this is pulled out of the archives for Timex is also great through line. So that attention to detail, whether it be a military inspired watch or an aviation inspired watch kind of thing, like those tiebacks to a bygone eras is cool for me. That's what I'm trying to get out of my watch. So
it's great, man. It's perfect. Is there anything else you want to talk about or anything coming up that you want to promote? I have no idea when this is going to air. And I could drop it whenever you want me to. If you prefer.
yeah, we didn't really talk about anything like
specific.
Well, we didn't talk about anything like
No,
time,
exactly.
like
Right,
like
sensitive.
too timely or time sensitive. I mean,
Unless you want to drop that now.
no, I think the things we talked about were spot on. I think
What's your favorite product for spring? Little teaser.
I mean, it's primarily things that we have not made, which is exciting for me because in the conversations that we've had with these new buyers, they're like, "Oh, you're a golf brand." It's like, not really.
Not what you think.
Like the stuff is not going to be sold in any golf stores. It's not going to be sold at any green grass accounts or country clubs.
Right.
It will be sold at
Boutiques.
Yeah, I mean, I can say them now. This is pretty fantastic. But like we secured a buy from Dover Street Market.
Holy shit.
Bodega, Hype Beast. We are waiting to hear back on a couple of other ones that I will not jinx. But as a brand operating in this weird era of like democratized golf brands, which we were just talking about, like I don't need anyone discovering Metalwood in a golf store.
Right.
That's not going to like move the needle for me.
Right.
It's
emotionally,
people,
if anything else.
Right. Yeah.
Right. No, I hear you.
People discovering Metalwood in any of those aforementioned stores is exciting for me because it's new, it's fresh,
You're an apparel guy though. Like,
yeah,
you're in the right places.
But I'm also going for like shock value,
100%.
Right? And so this feeling that I've had almost every time I go shopping for something for myself, which is at a Dover Street Market,
Yeah.
on Essence,
Yeah.
at Nepentha's, at any of those stores, I'm finding something that I really enjoy, and then having this afterthought was like, oh, I could also play golf in that.
Yeah, totally.
And I am really hoping that someone else gets that feeling,
Yeah.
with or without Metalwood. I want these people to stop buying golf clothes for the sole purpose of putting on,
As if that's the only place you can wear it.
right, exactly. And I know, and I say this over and over again, I know that I'm not like reinventing the wheel by any means, but
Right.
if it changed the way that you shopped,
Yeah.
and interpreted the way that brands market themselves to you, that's what stokes me out, right? So again, I don't think that the product that excites me for spring is stuff that we have not made yet. So I'm excited to see how people respond to it. And I'm excited to see how golfers respond to it and how that is different from people who don't play golf,
Yeah.
interpret it and what they do with it,
Yeah.
you know? So
Cole, this has been a blast for me.
yeah, same, dude. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you. We're about to tee it up on South.
Yeah.
What are you going to shoot today?
What tees are we playing?
Good question.
Who are we playing with?
A buddy of mine and a guy I've never met.
Okay.
He hits the
I'd
ball.
like to keep it in the 70s.
Yeah. I'll cut this out. It's fine.
No, it doesn't matter.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
This was awesome.
Thanks for
Glad
having
we
me.
made it happen.
Absolutely.
Finally.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Bye.
This wraps up this episode of the Standard H podcast. If you like what you heard, I'd love it if you'd share it with a friend or two. And if you have a moment, please rate and review the show as it helps others discover these episodes. It absolutely helps far more than you realize. Shout out to Jensen Reed and Super Beautiful for the theme track, as well as to Clear Audio for the noise canceling headphones. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.